Hey guys, so we've discussed addition, subtraction, and multiplication with positive and negative numbers. The fourth and final arithmetic operation that we need to now discuss, of course, is division. How does division work when you have positive as well as negative numbers? That's something we're going to take a look at in this lesson. To begin with, let me, as always, give you a couple quick points.
Note 1.
Firstly, division can be verbally indicated in a variety of ways. One could say divided by, over, or upon. So 10 divided by 5, or 10 over 5, or 10 upon 5. All of that is one and the same and would give you the answer as 2, of course. For me, I use upon more frequently than the rest, and I hope that's alright with you.
Note 2.
Secondly, let us build some familiarity with the terms that are involved when we do some division. So let's say you have got A upon B equals to C, where A, B, and C are some constant values. Some numbers could take their place, but for now we'll use the generalized A, B, and C. So if you think of this as a fraction, then A upon B, A is on the top, B is on the bottom, visually speaking, when you write that fraction. So we would call A as the numerator and B as the denominator. C does not have any specific term associated with it. You can call it as the result or the answer or the right hand side, any of those general words. But if you think of this as a division question, then A is the dividend, the number which is being divided. B is the divisor, the number which is dividing the dividend. And C is the quotient, the final answer that you get at the end of the division. So you can think of this as a fraction or a division expression. All of that is the same, but you should be aware of the proper terms that are used when referring to the different parts of the question. With those terminological and semantic things in place, let us get on to the juicy bits. What is division in reality? I want you to think of division as the inverse operation of multiplication, the opposite of the action of multiplying. Division is the opposite of multiplication. We will be understanding inverse operations in a bit more depth in the next lesson, but for now, what I want you to think and understand is that when you say A upon B, if the answer to that is C, then C is that number which when multiplied by B would give back A. Let me repeat this statement because this is very important. If A divided by B equals to some value C, then that value C is one which satisfies C multiplied by B equals to A. So the quotient or the answer that you would get out of division is that number which when multiplied by the divisor or the denominator gives back the numerator or the dividend of the question. Think and process this fully and then continue with this video.
Example 1.
21 upon 7. Now, if you know your division properly, then the simple answer to this is just 3. But let us try to use our newfound understanding of the concept of division and arrive at the answer through that route. 7 multiplied by something must give us 21. and that something is the answer, the quotient, the result that we are looking for. Now, if you know your multiplication table, 7 multiplied by 3 is what would give you 21, isn't it? Therefore, the answer for that something is 3.
Example 2.
Minus 21 upon 7. We are going to approach this with our logic. 7 multiplied by something equals to minus 21. What could that something be? Now, surely it must be 3, either plus 3 or minus 3. But which one of the two? Well, if you recall your multiplication rules with positive and negative numbers correctly, then if the product has a negative sign, which in this case is so because it's minus 21, then one of the numbers being multiplied will have a negative sign too. What are the two numbers being multiplied here? 7 and something. Clearly 7 does not have a negative sign, it's a positive number, so that something must be negative, so it will be minus 3, not plus 3. So minus 21 upon 7 equals to minus 3 is what we get.
Example 3.
21 upon minus 7. Let's use our logic again. Minus 7 into something equals to 21. Well, recalling our multiplication rules of positive and negative numbers, if the product is positive, then the numbers being multiplied should have either no negative sign or two negative signs for nullification to take place. Here, our product, which is 21, is positive, and the two numbers being multiplied are minus 7 and something. So we have one negative sign, and in order to get a positive product, we'll need to have another negative number in our multiplication. So that something will be minus 3. So we have 21 upon minus 7 equals to minus 3.
Example 4.
Minus 21 upon minus 7. The equation that we are now looking at based on our logic of inverse is minus 7 into something equals to minus 21. If the product is negative, which is the case in this equation, then the numbers being multiplied should have one negative sign. The numbers being multiplied are minus 7 and something. We have one negative number already in minus 7. So something must be a positive number. So it will be plus 3. Therefore, we have minus 21 upon minus 7 equals to plus 3. Now, if you take a bird's eye look at all of these 4 examples that we did, and if you try to link it with our knowledge of multiplication with positive and negative numbers, you will notice a striking similarity. And that just makes our job of memorizing multiplication and division rules for positive and negative numbers so much more easier. What do I mean by this? When we had 21 upon 7 or minus 21 upon minus 7, we got our quotient as 3 both times, which is to say that if we had no negative signs or if we had two negative signs in our division expression, then the quotient would be positive. This is the exact same as happens in multiplication. Similarly, if we had one negative sign whether in the numerator as in the case of minus 21 upon 7 or in the denominator as in the case of 21 upon minus 7, the quotient would contain a negative sign. This is also just like it happens in multiplication, wherein you need one negative sign in order to get a negative product. So, to state it very simply and succinctly, one negative sign means that your answer will be negative, but 0 or 2 negative signs means that your answer will be positive, and the 2 negative signs in that case would nullify each other. This holds true for not just division but also multiplication. And that's chapter closed. Let us solve some questions based on our understanding of division with positive and negative numbers.
Question 1.
20 upon minus 5. Now, it would be 4, but plus 4 or minus 4 is what we need to figure out. And 20 upon minus 5 has just one negative sign. It's in the denominator, but doesn't really matter. As long as it's just one negative sign, the quotient will be negative. So the answer will be minus 4. 20 upon minus 5 equals to minus 4.
Question 2.
Minus 36 upon minus 6. The first thing that you would notice is that there are two negative signs, so the quotient must be a positive value. And now, of course, 36 divided by 6 is 6 itself, so the answer will be plus 6. Minus 36 upon minus 6 equals to plus 6. On to the final and slightly more interesting problem.
Question 3.
What would you say is the answer to minus 2 into minus 4 whole upon minus 8? So when I say whole upon, that means that what I said before that is all in the numerator. So minus 2 into minus 4 is the numerator and minus 8 is the denominator. So what would you do? Let's just do this bit by bit. Let's solve for the numerator first. Minus 2 into minus 4. We see two negative signs, and in multiplication too, they just cancel out. So we're just looking at 2 into 4, and we know that 2 into 4 is 8. So the numerator has simplified to minus 2 into minus 4 equals to 2 into 4 equals to 8. Now the expression thus becomes 8 upon minus 8. Now we see one negative sign, so the quotient must be negative, and of course 8 divided by 8 is just 1. So the final answer to everything will be minus 1. So minus 2 into minus 4 whole upon minus 8 equals to minus 1. Just solve it step by step. Don't worry about the entirety of the expression and how complicated it looks at first glance. Everything can be done if you just take it one step at a time. I hope division with positive and negative numbers is now something you have got a grasp of. I encourage you to try out different sets of numbers, practice questions, and review this video in case of any issues. Comment your doubts below, subscribe for more, share this with your friends. Catch you in the next one.